Bavaria motor yachts have not one but two new world premieres at the show, and behind me here is the second of them. This is the Bavaria Vida, and while it's not an entirely new boat, they have heavily redone it and it's improved it immensely in my opinion. So let's have a look around and take a look at some of the changes as well as the boat itself. My name is Hugo Andreae, you're watching Motorboat and Yachting. Let's go and tour it. Now, unlike the majority of Bavaria's boats, this is an outboard-powered one, and you can see that one of the big changes is that they have swapped from Mercury to twin Suzuki 300 horsepower engines. Now, as well as changing the engines themselves, this whole configuration of the aft deck has changed quite considerably to make it more usable, safer, and a bit easier. So this whole section here, for instance, this tips up. You can see there is a little locking section there, but that tips up to enable the outboard engines to lift completely, so they now tilt up and go all the way forward. You've also got these extra guardrails here, so when you're walking around past this section, it just feels that much safer and easier. And we've also got a little passageway in front of the engines. There was never usually quite enough room, you had to kind of go through that outboard engine well. This just makes it easier to move around, very simple just to get to this side of the fixed platform too. Now the whole thing is covered by a hardtop, but you can see we have sliding sections in it, sliding manual sunroofs. So this one very quickly just slides forward and backwards. Oh, I think we've got it in the locked position here, but you can just see that very quickly slides forward and backwards. It means you can have shade or sun at this aft end of the boat. We've got another one here, even bigger, much the same, just very quickly slides forward and backwards. Probably better to do two-handed, give it a bit more even pull, but sometimes a manual solution is often a lot more reliable and just as quick and a whole lot simpler than an electric one. Now, for a 33-foot boat, this has a really good amount of space. We've got a big wraparound of seating on this dinette space. We've got a big table. It's all laid up, so I can't fold it out at the moment, but you can see in this mode, you've got room for your drinks holders and a grab rail, but you can fold the whole thing out and it will fill that entire space. Then you've got a really good sized dining area. Right opposite is an outdoor galley, and I mean an outdoor galley, it's not just a wet bar, you have got all the cooking facilities and they've made that usefully bigger too. So now you've got that much more depth to it. It means there's room for a 2-burner hob and a grill. This is obviously missing the grill and the hot stones and all that stuff, but you can see the principle. We've got a sink here, there's storage under there, that's the bin. We've got a fridge in here, and more storage under there. Gas hob always makes it that much easier. It means you can cook offshore without having to rely on a generator or shore power. And an extra little extension here. You can see that's just a flip out top that will fold flat. At the moment, we've got the cushions for the sun deck in place there. Now, as well as being a dining area, this section also converts into a sunbed. I can probably do that one-handed if I just lift up this section and fold it flat, and this one here too. Worth pointing out that you can do a sort of halfway house and have it like that. There's a sort of locking position there, but if I pull it again, lay it flat, and then you've got a nice usable sunbed at the stern of the boat. I should also point out that this one is fitted with the optional second sunbed. You can see that's got high-low struts as supports for the table, so that can sink down, and then this whole area can be one massive sunbed. Not sure if you really need that because this looks really quite useful, and of course we've got a sunbed up front, which I'll show you in just a second. There's also a really big storage locker under here. I'm not sure, might just have to lift this back up I think in order to demonstrate that, but if I've got enough strength, always that, I think that I don't need to undo that and that, but if I give that a good yank, just look in there, full of boat show cleaning kit at the moment, but really big storage capacity under there. You can never have too much, especially on a day boat like this. It's rare to find that much space in there. If you don't want to go to that extent of trouble. There are lockers under there for lines and fenders and easier access stuff. Helm position here. Now, one of the things that I really like about the way they've done this is it's a very convertible boat. As well as that sunroof overhead, we've also got zip-in side panels. So this one has been taken out. You can see that is plenty of fresh air coming through there. But then we've got a full height windscreen and a door here, so you can completely shut off that front section. And on this side, we have got one of the zip-in panels. So you can see with that in place, you have a really good, secure cockpit. And in fact, you can put zip-in covers all the way around this area here too, and completely enclose the cockpit area. So it is really convertible if you use it pretty much all year round. You've got heating in here, so you can keep it warm. And of course, down below, we've also got air conditioning. Now, helm station, nothing particularly unusual about this. We've got 3 seats. It's all part of one bench, but you've got 3 separate bolsters. So if someone want to stand, someone want to sit, that all works well. The helm station is over on the starboard side, so nobody has to disturb you coming and going. If it was the other side, you'd have to move every time somebody wanted to slide past you. With the bolster up, you've got a good raised helm position, terrific view through that windscreen. You've got a tilt adjustable wheel, so you can stand or sit and have it at the right angle. Here are the throttle controls. I have to say, I'm a little bit disappointed by Suzuki's throttle controls at the moment. They build such good engines, and I've got a 200 horsepower. It's been terrific, but somehow they just feel a little bit plasticky compared to the current generation of Mercury and Volvo ones, which just look and feel that much smarter. We have got joystick control. That is an option, but it does juggle the anchors. You've also got a virtual anchor position by the looks of things, so you can lock it in place and the boat will stay where you leave it. Got a bow thruster, Sleipner bow thruster to push that around too. And then nice clean layout, nothing particularly unusual about it. We've got a phone charger, we've got 2 Simrad screens. So those are the 2 Suzuki engine control panels. Quick access to things like the wipers and the bilge pump, so you don't have to scroll through menus. And then this is the standard Bavaria electronics panel, switch gear for other more sort of detailed things like cockpit lights and nav lights, horn and so on. One slightly sort of quirky thing is because they share the same panel across all the range, you end up having buttons for the roof control, even though, as we've seen, it's a manual roof and there is no electronics. It's just totally blank buttons. But to be honest, it's not really a major issue. Now, moving forward, this is where you've got access to the bow. I should point out there is a little gate here, as well as a hefty door. So again, when you want to keep it all enclosed, it very quickly shuts the whole area off. You've got full protection from weather, or if it's heavy seas, keep the spray on the bow area. Just lifts across and folds into place there, and that locks over to that side. And then you've got another good sunbed up here. Nice to see we've got wide teak decking all the way around, so still very easy to move around. Low level guardrails, obviously not great. You can't really sort of hold them once you're standing up. But having said that, once you're sitting down, it just means at the very least you've got somewhere to tie your fenders onto. Got speakers for the stereo set into that little lip. And I like the fact that it is quite a decent height there, so it does feel pretty secure walking around. Nice to see they've kept this bow area completely clean, so all the anchoring kit is underneath this locker here. There you go, there is the windlass, plenty of space for chain, fenders, lines and things in there. And you've got your 2 bow cleats either side of that. Obviously this deck doesn't really lead anywhere, but it does mean you can get to the rails and hang lines and fenders off this side. Big windscreen wiper there. So if you do get a bit of spray on the screen, that should very quickly clear it. There's that big roof we saw earlier. And then drop down back into here. Now there's more storage under some of these lockers. I won't show you, but there is access, I believe, to the fuel tank under there. And under here there is more useful storage, quite a big locker under there. And then down into the interior, sliding perspex door, fairly standard. And then drop down here. Oh, beautifully air conditioned in here. That's rather nice on a hot day like today. Now we've got it set up in the bed mode here. You can probably see that these panels all lift out and remove and stow in a locker under that forward section. So you can have it as just a sort of V-shaped seating area or this bed layout. But actually really good sized bed. I mean, that is properly wide. That's got to be probably 7 feet wide, I would say, at the head. Obviously it tapers a bit as it comes toward the bow, but that is a really good sized bed for 2 people to sleep on. Good to see we've got some hull windows down both sides, just means there's a good bit of natural light. There is an escape hatch up there if you ever need to use it, and some nice detailing like those little reading lights and blinds that drop down either side here. Here are the vents that are pumping out that nice cool air. We've got a repeat of some of the equipment here, so you've got a VHF down here. We've also got controls for the lights. Don't know if they're underwater lights or cabin lights, but it looks like you can vary the colour scheme on that. That will be the air conditioning in the heating unit, and a repeat of that. No, it's not, it's a slightly different panel, but again, it means you can control things from down here. There is a heads compartment that is behind this door here. I don't really understand. It seems to be a bit of a thing with Hansa Group boats, but it is an almost painfully narrow entrance to that. It's quite a good size heads once you're in there, but it's just really narrow. It's barely wider than the span of my hand. So even though I'm a relatively slim guy, I literally have to slide in sideways. If I just spin the camera around, you can probably see that I don't really fit going this way. Oh, bang my head too. So I actually have to duck a bit and go in sideways. And even when you're in here, it's then a little bit of a squeeze to close the door behind you. But once you're in, it's actually not a bad size. We've got a loo down here, sink over here. There is no natural light in here, but it feels quite well ventilated. A little bit of storage, and then shower on this side. There's standing headroom once you're in. It's just that door panel that is unusually low and a bit of a mystery, doesn't look like it needs to be. There are the controls for the shower and a teak grating underfoot, so it all drains nicely away. There's that door. Slide it open, lean back to get past, and back out. Now, I have had a chat with someone and worked out how this lighting works, and it is a little bit cooler than I thought, because first up, it's not just a panel, it is in fact a little remote control. So you can take it out into the cockpit, you can turn on the lights. You can see we've probably got some coloured purple lighting under there. We've also got it under the helm, you can see, and there are loads of various sort of functions. You can change the colour of it. You can see we've gone to green, you can go all the way across to red or blue, and a whole loads of different modes. You can have it flashing and scrolling and goodness knows what. Nice little bit of fun there. Quite gimmicky, but I do like the fact that it's a remote control as well as a panel, and it's just magnetically adhered, locks into place just like that. Neat, first time I've seen one. So, very much a day boat with overnighting facilities, perhaps a weekender, but it's really all about this cockpit, and the fact that it's so open but you can also close it off just means it's a bit more usable than a pure open boat. Now, pricing, we've got European pricing here. So the starting price for this boat with the twin Suzuki 300 horsepower engines is 217,000 euros. This particular boat with all the kit you can see on it today is 366,000, including VAT and tax and all the bits and pieces. So that is the boat. Not a brand new model, but with these little tweaks and refinements, I think they have made it a much more usable boat without some of the little frustrations, let's say, that crept in on the earlier model. But other than that, if you're looking for something which has the performance of a sports boat, but with a really good open deck area for large groups of people and an overnighting facility, it's got a lot going for it. I hope you've enjoyed watching a little tour of the boat. Do please give us your comments. And of course, thank you for watching.